Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for tuning in to the first ever edition of Tech Mahindra's Simplicity series. My name is Abhishek Shankar, and I'm part of the communications, media, and entertainment business in Americas at Tech Mahindra. Simplicity series found its origin at the Mobile World Conference earlier this year. We launched an initiative in Barcelona with various stakeholders in our industry that a lot of you witnessed live. It was called a campaign by the name Welcome to Simplicity. What started as a campaign evolved into our belief system in every tenet of our daily workflow, with simplification across all aspects of our business. With this belief, we've embarked on a journey to create not just a metaphorical, but a metaversical city, where highways of connectivity meet the opportunities of the future. A metaversical city we like to call simplicity, where there's a solution to every problem through simplification, where the opportunities are only bound by our imagination, where we all meet in our avatars to solve the problems of the future today. This city is divided into three zones: network, engineering, and experience. While we evolve our series across these three zones, we scratched our heads to imagine which leader embodies simplicity across the spectrum of networks, engineering, and ultimately experience for customers. We didn't scratch our heads for too long, as the answer was right there. Today, we have the honor and privilege to host Jeff McElfresh, Chief Operating Officer at AT&T, who we have seen on his personal and professional front reek of simplicity. And on the other side, I have Manish Vyas, President from Tech Mahindra's, a communication industry leader who for the last 25 years has been solving complexity through simplicity, not just for telcos and media entertainment customers, but many industries across. We hope to learn from Jeff and Manish today on why they think we need simplification and their best practices for all of this in life and in business. Ladies and gents, without further ado, I present to you Jeff McElfresh and Manish Vyas.
Thank you, Abhishek, for that very, very warm welcome and a warm introduction. Truly, the honor is mine because I'm here today with none other than Jeff McElfresh, a man and a leader who has clearly carved out many a niche in the industry, someone who continues to write some amazing chapters as we continue this brilliant journey in the world of telecom, communications, or what I like to call as the platforms. To launch this Simplicity series, which is so dear to us here at Tech Mahindra, I don't think all of us could have asked for someone better to inaugurate this series and have this wonderful conversation around the concept of simplicity. So Jeff, welcome, and thank you so much for doing this together with me.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to join you here, and what an amazing introduction.
Thank you, Jeff. Look, before we start this conversation, and we have often said, and I very vividly recall that very fiery, very exciting fireside chat we had a few months ago, where some of your comments actually inspired us a lot more to continue to bet big on the concept of simplicity. So we have a lot to talk about simplicity in the context of business, work, industry, transformation. But before we go there, I personally would love to share and love to get your comments as well on simplifying life, personal life. Because thanks to you and the amazing devices that AT&T gets in the hands of not just people like us, but the 2-year-olds, or rather the 2-month-olds sometimes, the hyper-connected world that we live in, it probably would not be an exaggeration to say that the world has indeed become more complicated. So to try and simplify our day-to-day life is becoming more of a project on a day-to-day basis. I, for one, constantly think about how do I every year, every month, every week, every day simplify my life. And I have built a little framework that I like to call as the 3S framework. Self, what I do personally, how do I conduct, how do I prioritize my life? My system or my support system, which is my family, immediate family, the near family, and of course the friends. And third is really the society at large, the ecosystem who we truly owe a lot to, and that deserves to continue to get some support from us time to time. Now, I don't believe I will ever get perfect, but my promise to you and to everybody else is that I try and wake up every morning, and before we retire, I think, am I contributing to these three things adequately? Whether it is contributing to a small little initiative that our teams are doing at a society level, or am I spending enough time with my two 13-year-old and 11-year-old daughter? I try and, it comes across to many people as probably something that should be done naturally, but because we live in this rather chaotic world, I try and make a conscious effort to try and simplify, and something which is important as we continue to embark and do more things at a business level. You yourself live and lead a rather busy life. The number of responsibilities that you have are plenty. How do you keep your own life simple, Jeff, if I may ask you that?
Well, that's obviously a work in progress. I think you characterized the amount of effort and the focus that one must make and a dedication one must take in order to simplify things. It doesn't happen naturally. If you think about it, if you grow up trying to play sports, man, it's complicated, right? The rules you have to learn, the actual motion of performing the sport, and invariably when you start, you're probably not great at it.
Yep.
But if you have conviction, if you've got a passion for it, you stick with it. And over time, something becomes more natural to you. Even though you weren't born with that ability, you stuck with it, you focused on it. And the sport becomes more simple. And it enables you to do some things that you never thought you could do. And so I agree with you. I think the world has generally always been complex, and as a result, complicated. I think today, with access to information and the lack of patience, either in the workplace or at home or in society, it's made the complicated maybe exponential. And so for me personally, similar to you, I go home at night and I think about, what is my purpose? Why am I here? What are members of my family or colleagues and friends like you going to think about me 20 or 30 years from now? Is what I spent my time on today helping others going to leave a lasting impression on them such that they impact others in the way that I want to be known to impact folks? And it could be small things. It doesn't have to be major things, but taking an inventory of, did you accomplish, did you contribute, did you do what you woke up in the morning to do? And I got to be honest, finding the balance between what's needed in a company environment and the context and the situation that the company is in, whom you work for, or the society, or the life stages that your family goes through, it's a challenge to balance. And you have to make choices of where you're going to allocate your time and your energy. And nobody is perfect at this, because nothing is static. You spend a little bit more time focused on this part of your environment, and you realize, I've got to do a little bit more over here. And I think this is important, like the pursuit of simplicity at the fundamental level. When things are complicated, very few people understand it. Very few people can talk about it. Very few people can engage in a really meaningful conversation. When situations are complicated, you tend to get a divide among the participants in the conversation. And I think this is true in life. I think it's true in business. It's true at multiple levels. So the pursuit of simplicity, in one way, is a pursuit to bring more people into the conversation. Take a complex issue that we face today in society and have that conversation with your children at various ages. They don't have the knowledge you have, they don't have the life lessons that you have, and they may not understand the complexity of the situation, but they have a point of view. How do you engage them in that conversation that's meaningful? Take, for example, very complicated business scenarios where an organization of professionals, the women and men that surround you, are being asked to accomplish a task that seems unobtainable. It's like, I can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. You have to make some choices as a business, like you do as a member of a family, where you invest your time and energy. And so you work on things like focusing your efforts where you can have the greatest impact.
Yep.
And at AT&T for us, we've been undergoing a rather strong transformation over the last couple of years. And in fact, now today, I could tell you that we are certainly a bit more focused inside of our business due to some of the changes and the evolution that we have undertaken over the last 3 years. And now we find our stride. Now we find our purpose. We understand the impact that we have in society, in communities. And we connect people to greater possibilities, as you opened up the question with.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And that's a purpose worth pursuing and a purpose worth rallying all employees and all partners that we do business with around that common goal. And if we do it in a way that drives the complexity out, it results in more customers, more employees at the center of where you can have and make the biggest impact. And that's kind of what I'm all about at AT&T.
Oh, wonderful, Jeff. Thank you so much. I think I'm so happy that you so seamlessly moved from the realm of the personal to the business, which I think is also indicative of how the lines have blurred at the same time.
Completely.
And I'd love to get more of your thought on, because like you said, AT&T is indeed on a massive, phenomenal mission to simplify and execute that vision of yours, which is to have a more simpler company, attacking a certain set of objectives and goals. When we talk to our the 160,000 people across Tech Mahindra, and sometimes when, like this year, we added about close to 15,000 people who just graduated from college in the last 12 months. And I remember one of these sessions I was having with this 75 set of people who we recruited from Dallas, Atlanta, and I think New Jersey colleges. A chat with them where one of them asked me a question in that all hands and said, why should we be inspired about working in a tech company and at Tech Mahindra? I said, well, working at Tech Mahindra, let's hope you find the answer in due course. But working for tech, here is why you should be inspired about. And that is, Maslow's theory said the basic needs of human being was food, shelter, clothing. If it was in 2022, I would say the answer is wrong. It is food, shelter, clothing, and software. And we happen to be in that business. So that's at one level, our objective is very simple, and which is stay focused on what the industry will continue to use and derive the benefits from, which is technology and software. And we think in many ways we are in the perfect business at the right time. But as we say that, the world of software is so massive, so wide, so big. We had to take some conscious calls at our own level, particularly within the work that we do for companies like you, the telco and the telco ecosystem. And call me a slave of the box of three, but we created two more simple models, which are both a combination of three things each. One, we said if we were to ever approach a Jeff McElfresh and Jeff were to ask us a question, what can you do for me? right? While how we can do things can be multiple answers, right? We can do development, we can do integration, we can do consulting, and so on and so forth. But at a business level, we can only do three things for you. One, we can help together imagine the future from a product service standpoint. Two, we can build a powerful bridge to the future with digital. And three is we can help, which we do quite a lot for you, which is to help run the operations a lot more effectively, efficiently this year than we did last year. Next year has to be better than this year. So we call it imagine, build, and run. But then the big question was, okay, that's great. Jeff might ask us this very next question, but you can't be good at everything. What are you very good at? So we said, okay, let's try and give answer again in the box of three. And we said we will do focus our energies, our investments, go to the board, our shareholders, and ask for investment in three areas only. What we can do with network, with experience, because with better experience is when you can derive greater value from the customers. And third is engineering, because if it is software, then you got to have engineers around you from devices all the way to platforms. Now, we absolutely believe we are not perfect at all of this yet. But where we are heading is in a journey where we believe if we keep our focus and our what not to do also fair, keep staying focused on these three things, we believe, and a lot of endorsement has happened from leaders like you, that you seem to be on the right track. Now that's us. What I'd love to get your perspective on is, you briefly alluded to the journey that you are on in simplifying your vision and your objectives. Share a little bit more with us in terms of, and give us some examples, if you can, on where you are impacting this process of change, process of simplifying your vision and your objectives going forward.
Yeah, certainly. There's a lot of similarities. I mean, at the foundation level, achieving simple is hard work. It's an investment in time. And there's a pursuit of that you have to believe on the back end, when you achieve it, it gives you great returns. And I think all of us, no matter where we are in our stage of a career, in whatever task that we do, we can see complexity everywhere. And most of the time, that complexity isn't necessarily critical or important to delivering value to a customer, which at the end of the day is who we are here to serve. So step one, listen to what your customers are saying. Look, our customers, they know that what we do is not simple. I mean, for many, it's magical. They cannot believe the kind of speeds of broadband access we're offering in a mobile setting or a fixed setting with our fiber product. Like, it is really an inspiring product, and it's creating all sorts of great possibilities for those that use it, from the ages of 2 all the way up to 20, all the way up to 90. And you know, we've been doing this a long time. There's a huge heritage at AT&T dating back to the late 1800s. And what we do about creating connection requires us to be great at doing a handful of things. In fact, I might say strive to be expert at these basic things. The basic things of building industry-leading networks to more places, to areas of our country who have not had access to this kind of internet experience, to advance the quality of our wireless network, such that we're not only today deploying 5G spectrum in our wireless network, but we're backing that up with products and services that are simple and easy for customers to engage in the 5G network and realize even newer possibilities, something that we couldn't do on the last standard. And that requires investment, that requires decisions and choices, much like you and your company, where today, as we think about where we allocate our capital and our resources, it is to fiber and to 5G. It is to the simplification of the services that we offer to our customers. And the hardest part in that, I would curious if you agree inside of your company, the hardest thing is you've got to have the courage to say no and stop some things that have been important in your company's history, but might be less relevant for the future going forward. And step one is stopping doing things and reinvesting that valuable time and investment dollars over into the things that you know are going to create a brighter future for society, for the economy, and for your company. And then second, we all have examples of things that we've had to say no to, but then remaining consistent. You see, I think that while things have gotten a little bit more complicated, as we talked earlier in society, and how maybe, for example, an employee, a contributor's demands of how they would like to conduct work, and not necessarily in an office building. Maybe they prefer to be a virtual worker and contribute, and you guys have done a fabulous job at leaning into that in your company. You've got to rethink the way you structure hiring, training, onboarding. And it wasn't that simple when it was before the pandemic. It was complicated then. Now it's even more complicated. And so small things, it's not huge things, small things like changing the way you onboard, what the rules or the policies are of your company to bring new contributors into the family, so to speak. And then having the patience to see it through. Patience might be described as consistency. And we both work within very large organizations, and it takes time for these decisions to make their way through an organization and to be affected upon or acted upon at each level in the company. And that persistence, that consistency helps you maintain focus on what matters most. And when you lean in, I know your company does this quite well, AT&T does it exceptionally well. When we get focused on something, we will execute it. We will do it. We will deliver it. And with that comes gratitude of our customer base, satisfaction of our investors because the business is growing, it's thriving, and our customers are telling us that we're doing a better job today than we were yesterday. So having to determine what you're going to stop doing, you're going to limit, what you're going to focus on, and remaining consistent, those are the keys to, I think, unlocking the true return and the power of simplicity.
Well, I'm sure everybody who's listening and watching this will agree with me that these are truly golden nuggets, golden insights into what you are doing at AT&T, but also what ought to be done all the time if one wants to simplify. You know, but that does bring me something that you said just now, reminded me of, and this is where, before I go there, I think one thing I must say, you never cease to inspire me and us, Jeff. And one reason amongst all is that with you, it's always about people. This whole process of simplicity, while you can take any technology, any platform, but if it is not contributed by, to, and for people, I think it fails the purpose, really. You know, like I was saying, I'm blessed with these two extremely dynamic, very inquisitive, sometimes a pain, two daughters. And the younger one, who's going to be 12 tomorrow, she often comes up with these saying, I don't get it, right? And I'm saying, how can you not get it? I mean, I just explained to you. And if I try and transpose that scenario into the work environment, oh my God, we don't even spend that much time with many of our employees. We can't. It's not physically possible. So to drive this process of simplicity, drive this objectivity around this process of transformation, I personally believe the greatest impediment, while it also happens to be the greatest strength, paradoxically, is the communication with people.
Yeah.
What's your take on that, and how do you even address that aspect?
Well, it's a consistent message within the company, kind of a groundswell. So when we declare what our purpose is, connecting people to greater possibility, and the how we do it through expertise, simplicity, and inspiration, that is what drives us at AT&T. Okay. In fact, I mean, it's not just a voiceover. In fact, I've got a laminated card here, and you can see what our purpose is and how we do it here. We've been on this journey now for quite some time.
And if I may say one thing on that, it's not funny, you show me that, because today, one of your leaders, very, very relatively senior leader, in response to an email that I wrote yesterday, did write back with exactly these 3 words.
Yeah.
Which means it's working so very well.
Well, no, we're in early stages. And so like doing anything that you set your sights on doing and doing well is going to take time. And you got to have the patience, and you got to live it. You've got to embrace it and make sure that it is, as we say at AT&T, the blue thread through everything that we do, from inviting a new employee, contributor to the company, to embracing a new customer to the company, to restoring service after a natural disaster and maybe lending a hand to some of our competitors in the area that might need a helping hand to restore service. When you weave those 3 words across everything that you do, and your frontline employees begin to see it and experience it, then it becomes real.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're on the beginning of a journey,
Yeah.
much like you shared with us. You know, you're on this journey personally, right?
Yeah.
You haven't perfected it yet. And we will get it right when our frontline and our customers tell us we got it right.
Mm-hmm.
And doing that, you have got to listen to the honest feedback. And as I said earlier, our customers, they know what we do isn't simple. And they expect from time to time that there will be a level of service interruption, maybe due to a storm, maybe due to an error that a machine made or a human made.
Yeah.
They don't expect perfect. What they expect is a sense of urgency and empathy in getting their one broadband connection reconnected. They want to see their provider, AT&T, be as empathetic and as anxious to get their one small broadband connection on the AT&T network connected. But for them, it's the whole internet. And being able to do that at scale, that takes time. And you have got to walk the talk. Mm-hmm. You have got to live it, and then you have got to imbue in your products and your services examples of this, and drive it through your operations. And I would say that we have a lot of great momentum at AT&T, and you've been a big part of this.
No, thank you, Jeff. No, thank you so much. Look, but I think, you know, in your, what I'm probably beginning to call it as the inimitable Jeff style, you very seamlessly introduced something that I did not even think of. I didn't think of before about 10 seconds back. And which is what defines success of simplicity. We can do as much as we want. We can keep painting the town red with or blue with the word simplicity. But you just said something very powerful, because this is abstract, this is subjective. There is no objective quantification to simplicity. What you said is customers and people who meet with customers, they have to come back and say, you did it.
Correct.
Only then does it make sense. So when we look at our transformation, we call it our delivery operations transformation. I think our measure is not just the financial metrics, but also what do our customers, which is you, and your leadership team tells us saying, yep, I think it makes sense. What you just did there did make an impact on, it's easy to know who do we reach out to should something go wrong. Like this weekend, we did get a call from you and something happened. I think we did quite okay in reacting and responding with urgency that you're referring to. And I tend to believe that this part of this organization at least is working quite okay. I think any other examples that you can think of as we wrap this up? I know you may be running out of time.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you a couple of real practical examples that anybody can take a look at the public face of AT&T with our products and services and say, okay, I understand now what Jeff and the AT&T team mean by simplicity. We listened to our customers back in 2020. And we've got a rather large mobile business.
Yep.
And back in those days, we had different offers for different customers. And in fact, if you were a new customer, never before been an AT&T customer, and you were going to come join the AT&T family, we would offer you something fairly aggressive to entice the growth. And if you had been a loyal customer of AT&T for 25 years, you kind of got the basic offer.
Yeah.
You didn't get the aggressive offer.
Yeah.
And we took the step back in 2019 to study, to listen to the sentiment and the feedback from our customers. And we made the choice that we're not going to be that company. We're going to give every customer of AT&T access to the absolute best offers that we have in the market. And we did it in scale in 20. We've remained consistent with that offer in the marketplace since we launched it. And something magical happened that we didn't expect to happen. This is where it's inspirational for us to see this play out. By simplifying the offer, it freed up time for our front line, the most important people in our company, to not worry about all the complexity in the offer, but to focus on the customer.
Lovely.
And that's resulted in some great reward, some great recognition of growth. We took the second step from that learning, knowing, wow, we can actually simplify the entirety of our business if we really listen to the customer. We did that with our fiber product set.
Yep. Yep.
And we launched everyday simple pricing, simple in the word. No contracts, because we believe the quality of our product stands for itself, and our customers tell us it does.
Yep.
Pricing is fixed, it never goes up. You never have any kind of adjustment 12 months down the road. The deal that you purchase is the deal that you get. And it really simplified everything in the support model. Customers that are joining the AT&T broadband network today rave about it. They love the process. It's easier to put that flow on digital. Things just start to snowball.
Yep.
And when you get momentum, then when you set your company's purpose statement and you say how we do is via expertise, simplicity, and inspiration, the front line says, yep, there it is. And it starts to catch fire. And we at AT&T, we're just in the beginning innings of this journey.
Well, you know, you said what defines simplicity is when you get a feedback from a customer. To this last part that you just said, I am a customer, a very proud one at that. I must tell you it works, Jeff. I have benefited. I have been a 17-year customer for AT&T, and I did get the benefit. My family did get the benefit on both the broadband and the wireless of the things that you just said. So simplicity indeed is working on steroid, they would say. Jeff, wow, it's amazing. Thanks a million. I don't know, my limited English skills will fail to express the gratitude that we have for you to join the inaugural episode of this series. We have a lot more conversation on this as we go forward with various other leaders across the world. But as a company, I can assure you that we are committed. The TechM family, your TechM family is clearly respects your insights and the guidance. We continue to feel inspired by, and you continue to inspire many other young guns and generations of young guns going forward. So thank you so much. Now, the number of things that you said, I potentially cannot do justice because I was not taking notes and it is all captured in the video to summarize it. So I'm going to go back to our dear friend Abhishek, who started this, and request him if he could go, and first he can come in, and then if he could go and summarize for us for the benefit of the audience so that at least we can leave this conversation with a few takeaways from this exciting conversation with Jeff. Thank you so much, Jeff. Appreciate it.
Hope you enjoyed the show. I surely did. And here are my 3 takeaways. From Manish, the power of 3. And Jeff, thank you for talking about simplicity in frontliner journeys. They will get so much more time to spend with customers. And the most important, empathy at scale. Thanks again, Manish and Jeff, and for sharing these golden nuggets for all of us to learn from and to help inspire the next generation of young guns in technology and communications. We'll be back soon with more such simplicity sessions and with some of the bravest and the greatest. Stay tuned and stay simple.